Isha Committee. And the Isha Committee pretty much gives everything that Lord Isha had been advocating for, and the Prime Minister implements everything very, very quickly. So from 1905 on, Isha was involved in the Committee of Imperial Defense, and continued to play a significant role in defense strategies through the First World War. This is Lord Fisher, who was Admiral of the Fleet and eventually becomes First Sea Lord, which in our government roughly translates to Secretary of the Navy. So Fisher becomes a full admiral in 1901. He starts out as second Sea Lord, and he has his own ideas on reform. So Fisher, for instance, envisioned consolidating ships into fewer fleets and advocated for a unified entry and training system for officer cadets and cadets. They didn't have one. He sought also to make Navy officers interchangeable, successfully implemented many of his plans within the first year. He becomes Commander-in-Chief at Portsmouth, which is another big deal. And he gains the favor of the King, who decorates him the Bath and the Order of Merit. Those are pretty hefty decorations over there. He implements cost-saving measures. He decommissions outdated warships. He reallocates their crews to other squadrons. He gets rid of 154 ships in total from the active list, and has a smaller, punchier, more powerful Navy than Britain otherwise would have done. So Fisher faces a changing political landscape. He's worried about Germany's growing power, and he bites himself in the foot on that, because his policy of deterrence, of building, scares Germany into thinking that Britain's going to attack, when Britain thinks that Germany's building dreadnoughts so they could attack, and this is really the circle that they find themselves in. So he, along with Edward, they aim to leverage the UK's naval strength as a deterrent, and this had always worked. It was against Germany. It was a key aspect of British foreign policy. Germany was particularly vulnerable because the Navy was so weak. So Fisher says that this is going to be our long-term response. And Germany, again, had been attempting to enhance its naval capabilities by constructing warships. Britain built because Germany built, Germany built because Britain built. It's a vicious cycle. The Russo-Japanese War. We'll skip through just in interest of time. But Fisher attributes much of the strife among the powers to Kaiser Wilhelm. I agree. He aims to remind him of the limitations of his navy. At a dinner with the King in late 1904, this is an alleged remark: "We'll have a picnic at Kiel. We'll just go along and put 2 British warships on either side of a German, and say to the German, as the policeman says to the drunk, come along quietly and there'll be no trouble. But if you don't, then there'll be trouble, and no mistake about it." And the Germans didn't take that kindly, as I don't think any of you think they probably would have. And the King supposedly replied, "Fisher must be mad." Fisher, in his autobiography, it's an interesting autobiography if you're looking for something to read, he has a long secret conversation with the King, in which he urged that the Royal Navy should Copenhagen the German fleet stationed at Kiel, as Nelson had done to the Danes during the Napoleonic War. Nelson gives the order. Nelson takes his fleet and just bombards Copenhagen to rubble. And that was what Fisher was suggesting, and lamenting that the British had no leader that would give that order in modern day Britain. So during this period,